Hi, welcome to the video. Welcome to Medellin. My name is Christopher Buell, and you may not know of me from such books as Golden Nuggets of Hobo Wisdom and Golden Nuggets of International Dating. I had to look at my own title. I have a lot of books. I have 3, so it's very difficult to keep them all in order. At any rate, today is day 1 of the official coronavirus lockdown in Medellin. And I came out here in January for what I thought would be 3 months. And I thought a lot of things. I thought I would be able to really knuckle down and work on promoting my new book that came out in February. And partly due to there being too many women, and partly due to a slight case of something I like to call coronavirus, I was unable to move forward with a lot of my plans. And so it's a very funny thing. I kind of welcome this quarantine, even though it's day 1 and I'm already sort of bouncing off the walls. As they say, you can, as the prisoners say, you can do the time, or the time can do you, or whatever that is. And so I'm trying to be proactive. And over the last 3 months, a little less, I've documented a lot about what it's like to be a gringo, almost 50, moving to Medellin. And in some ways I feel like, there's a lot of information on the internet right now with other people with their point of view. Is another voice on what it's like to live in Medellin really necessary? Probably not. Do you need that many different brands of toothpaste? Probably not. So I'm going to be another brand of toothpaste. And I would like to share some of my experiences when I was in the United States and I was debating on coming down here. As I said, there are other contributors, other people talking about what life is like down here. But, people want to identify with people similar to them. And, there wasn't someone 47, not overfloweth with money, living down in Medellin. And are the rumors true? Is it this cheap? Is it that easy to pick up girls? Is it a good life? Is the weather that good? Whatever the questions are, I wanted to throw my 2 cents in. And at any rate, that's a little bit of an introduction of who I am. And I've got some notes here that I'd like to go over and talk a little bit about what my experience has been like here in Medellin. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about why Colombia. And I'll try and make it quickly, but I had bought a business from a couple of guys that, this was probably 10 years ago. At any rate, they after they sold me the business, they moved down here. We always stayed in touch, and they always said if I could ever make it down, I'd have a place to stay. And at the time, this is 2017, I was in the middle of writing my book on international dating. And I think I'd been to Ukraine a couple times. And if you want to be international, you got to go everywhere. And, obviously it just made sense. So the dating company was down here. My friends were down here. I came down here. And, it's very funny because in Ukraine, you get all the girls you want through the dating agency. They'll take the free meals, and be sure to reward you with lots of no touching. Now in Colombia, it took an act of Congress to get a handful of chicks to go out with me. However, I had far more success with the Colombian women than I did with the Ukrainian women. And putting that aside, it's not really the reason. The real reason I came here is because it's the same time zone as where my son's at. I happen to love Ukraine. I happen to love everywhere. I've been traveling internationally the last few years. Every place is great in its own way, but the main factor was the fact that it's the same time zone as my son, and didn't want to lose contact with him any more than being this far removed. And I can tell you that I'd made another trip down here just to check it out, not with the dating agency. This is back in October. And, my first attempt at bat was my buddies that live here. They had a party. And they were like, Christopher, you got to see this girl that's coming. And this girl came. And at the time, my mom was with me. I brought my mom down to, stay with my friends and check out Colombia. And I thought I'd play it cool with this girl, And at some point, my mom was like, I think that girl dressed that way for you, and I feel like you're ignoring her. And so, finally, I went out there, and it was just she and I sitting on the porch. And I was using my translator because I don't know Spanish, even now. And I was laying it on the way I know how to, hard and painful for the woman. And I thought I was funny, and she was laughing. And I was saying things like, are you interested in a middle-aged man who doesn't speak Spanish if I move down here? Just doing the shit that I do. And I don't know exactly what the moment was that the woman was terrified of me. I mean, the rest of the evening, whatever side of the room I was on, she was on the exact opposite side. I have had a lot of experience in striking outs and not doing well with women. I'd like to think I'm a little bit of an expert in that arena. And the look on her scared little face, it still haunts me. And so that was clearly painful. It's like I kept offering her money, but it didn't matter. I'm just kidding. I didn't talk to her anymore. But eventually my mom went back to the United States, and I stayed another week without my friends in Medellin on my own. And it was the complete opposite. I was going out with chicks left and right. And, I was feeling at the time of an analogy. And I felt like the transgendered man who competes against women. I felt like a cheater. It was so easy for me to pick up Colombian women. And all I had to do was give them money. And I thought, you know what? I need to give it a real go. And so I came back in January with the intention of being here for 3 months. And I thought, now, Christopher, it's easy to pick up girls when you give them money. And I could probably have a little bit more of a discussion on that, because there's a lot of different levels of giving them money. And what I mean by that is, like, there's straight up prostitution. But there's a lot of gray area with girls that they'll be your girlfriend. You just need to pay the babysitter money. And the babysitter money, it's nowhere near as high as a prostitute. But they are not with you. And it may only be, I don't know, $20 or something like that. But, still at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't know. It just feels a little. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You got to pay for the babysitter. Babysitter. Baby sick. You need babysitter. Baby sick money now. Like. I don't know. That was fun for the first week back in October. I didn't mind the babysitter situation, but it got old pretty quick. So when I came back this time, I thought, let's see how I do without bribing women to hang out with me. And I will say that it wasn't the experience I had the first time. It is much easier when you give them money. Having said that, it's still way easier than the United States. And I have a couple of American friends who told me before I came, if you're okay with dating sixes and sevens, but they didn't use the word dating, you'll be dating women everywhere. And so there's a lot to unpeel regarding dating down here. But I think at this point I'm going to wrap it up because it seems to be a bit rambly. And talk to you later.